Brodus is most wanting right now and looking forward to is, not being a murderer anymore. You know, just one small thing. Um, yeah. And Graham, side note, Minecraft can be an RPG if you try hard enough.
Fair. Uh, and Pharaoh, if you could do yours again, I had the audio off because it's been a long time since we played. I'm so
Yep,
sorry.
that's totally fair. So hey everyone, I'm Pharaoh. I will be playing Sindra Starmain tonight. I lean in Warlock Paladin. And what she is looking forward to, is that was the third question posited to us today. She is currently looking forward to a ideally rapid end to the bullshit that is currently swirling around Brodus as a result of his murder of a woman that we know he didn't murder. And she's just looking forward to having like less of a migraine. Realistic goals here.
I believe that is me next. Hello, I am Izzy, aka Ladylike, and I shall be playing Zosh, the Aasimar cleric slash sorcerer who has a very easy and simple goal of just wanting to be a god. No big deal. And what Zosh is looking forward to, I believe when we left off, Zosh got a book about religions and gods, and is very much looking forward to digging into that and seeing what they can find out.
All right, and I believe the first time I've been on this channel, am Aramis. Don't really do this much, don't really do too much online, but happy to be here. Always happy to play D&D. And this campaign, I'm playing Joachim Tarvik, the human sorcerer. And what he's looking forward to is getting back to Oakledge. It's a wonderful city, great parties, very peaceful, very stable politically. Yes, looking forward to that.
Wonderful. And because I was muted the entire time, hi everybody, my name is Graham or Graham Crackers. Tonight I will be your DM. Inspiration to Thomas for the deck save. Alright, good to know. And I will be your DM tonight. I play everyone that's not these lovely folks. If this is your first time tuning in, here on the channel we're all about making memories with friends. And before every session, I do always ask my players one thing. Would they like to do the recap or me? If they choose to do the recap from previous sessions, I will give them a 1d6 to use on any roll of the night after seeing the result of said roll. However, if they are unable to or don't want to, I will take the 1d6 to use for good or ill.
I say hurt us.
Yeah, you say hurt us? Okay. Well, we're gonna play some very exciting music right now. Last session. We'll dial back a little bit. We'll say last sessions. After a period of months since the slaying of an ancient dragon in the long-forgotten city of Mondag Type, our party split up and went their separate ways. Some retiring to run a bar, some vanishing into the ether, if you will. However, heroes seldom rest, and once more, the call to duty was on them. Brodus was summoned for a court hearing to report and to attend his own jail time sentence after some poor business decisions in the previous season. He was alerted that there were 3 people requesting his assistance. One was Duke Edford, the local lord local duke of the Oakledge area, who reported that Lady Withershams has died and that the right to take over Oakledge was his by local law. The second was, I believe, from Lady Withershams, asking him to come to Oakledge and that there wasn't much time. The third was from Lady... Oh, let's see. I don't want to get this wrong. I will give a D6 to anyone that has her name right here while I pull this up.
Whose?
Hmm?
Whose name?
Lady, the second person that is vying for...
Valencia.
Lady Valencia Mortrea Dathomar.
Take your D6. You know, well done. I'm glad that my players pay attention.
I'm glad I take notes.
I am proud that you take notes. Lady Valencia, who, on order of the crown of the Kingdom of Andaland, claimed that she was to be the steward and holder of these lands until a rightful heir or until the crown has decided on an heir to take over. And then, lastly, a letter from a familiar face of Brodus's. Lanthario, as acting steward, reporting that Lady Withershams has died under mysterious circumstances and that Brodus is held suspect. Brodus, knowing what he must do, reported in and turned himself into the city. Meanwhile, Zosh and Sinra, residing in the city of the Crystal Caverns, having some well-deserved rest, while planning their assault on the knolls of the Plane of Bones, were given information. If they planned this assault, it would take more than the dwarves of the Crystal Caverns to achieve their goals. It would take the armies of Andaland and several of the other realms if they were to turn back the tide and achieve their goals. As such, Sinra and Zosh set out to the kingdoms of Andaland to Oakledge to meet with the nobility and entreat with them. They also brushed in with Brodus and heard that he was going to jail. So maybe a bit of it was to stop Brodus from doing yet another dumb action. But our party reconvened. Brodus was turned in. A few spats with between the guards and Duke Edford's troops that were currently in the city resulted, and the party was accepted onto the palace grounds, allowed to have free reign as Lanthario, who has met with them before, holds several of them in good esteem. However, that wasn't all. Lanthario asked them to look into the death of Lady Withershams, but before they could, there was an assault down in the prison. Shadowy creatures and assassins set upon Brodus viciously, who was stabbed several times, but miraculously survived. Now released while under the supervision of Sinra and the party, Brodus went about the halls that he used to live in, work in, and the party began to look in to the library, to Lady Withershams' private study, finding several books and several bits of information as to what happened. That she had been poisoned and had failed to secure an antidote to the poison. That her final words were, "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry." That she had met with a wizard previously who had asked for books on the nature of the divine And in the distance, besides that last point, they had read one last thing. There is an heir who has been hidden away that seemingly no one knows about. They don't know why, they don't know how, but they are here, and that's where we left off. However, despite the steps they've made, the world continues to move. As night began to fall, as they were researching and studying, torches lit up like fireflies in the fields outside of Oakledge. An army's worth. As a well-trained, well-oiled machine of war marched on the city. And that is where we're going to pick up, is a little bit away from the city. On a dusty and dirt road. Aramis, will you describe your character as you are walking? You are currently joined by two individuals traveling with you at this time. Volen is on your left and Dasra on your right. As you are making your way on the starry night sky on the south side of the city.
Right. So Joachim is a human man, looks to be in his early 30s. Very well kept, longish brown hair, almost perfect beard. Face, wearing chainmail with some white and gold cloth kind of wound around various parts just to look fancy and heroic from the tales of old. Obviously a bit full of himself, but what could you do? But now, after presumably walking for quite a while, he's just a bit tired, looking towards the city. It's kind of, oh, we were supposed to be there. I know.
Dazra kind of nudges you with an elbow to the ribs. Not meaning for it to be a bit more aggressive than it is, but elbowing with plate mail seldom feels good. Well, maybe if you had picked up the pace back then and didn't want to, what was it, your words you said? We have to help that farmer get his plow back onto the road. Perhaps we
didn't take that. No, whatever.
Vulen kind of gives like a light chuckle, often on the receiving end of this kind of judgment, and he just goes, I mean, the best part about getting there at night is that the taverns are already pouring the drinks.
True.
And I don't know about you, but dusty roads make me thirsty.
Aye.
So, what's the plan when we get there? Hit up a bounty board? Maybe hunt down some brigands?
Well, just get a lay of the land a bit. Hit up some bars. Relax a little bit after, being on the road. Who knows? Something always tends to pop up. Someone runs in the gate screaming or something.
That is how it goes. To be honest, I didn't expect someone to run up to Dazra last time, saying there were dragons.
Yeah, that was a bit... It worked out in the end. That was a big one.
I don't know what you talk about. I am very much heroic, and I don't see the two of you yelling when you stand behind me while I have my shield up. Saying, don't let the fire hit me.
Yeah, you're fine.
We'll be there soon, so might as well pick up the pace.
All right.
If the two of you don't, I'm going to have to carry you.
Well, I don't know. Let's just go. Save the magic for the party.
And the three of you begin to set forward, reaching the southern gate of the city within about an hour. The tall walls of Oakledge. Oakledge itself is built on a giant ledge by the ocean side, kind of hanging uphill. There is a massive palace at the top of this winding and steep ledge-like cliff. The city below surrounds in a circle around, building out several acres of land, followed by a large wall with streaming parapets and a wide array of guards on the wall. You can see hundreds of torches along just the southern section, kind of lighting up every 10-15 feet of the wall itself. The large oaken iron-barred doors are about 20 feet by 30 feet and seem to be closed, but there is a guard with a kind of like a horn that's kind of perched on the wall that is kind of looking out. And as the three of you approach, he calls out, "State your name and business."
Joachim Tarvik, the rest of the Holy Dragons, here for rest and parties.
Rest and parties, well, you won't find much, but you'll find whatever you're looking for in here. One moment. Just the three of you?
All right, to my knowledge.
Alright, make quick about you. And within about 20 seconds, you can hear like some hollering down to an individual, and you can hear like the cranking of chains as the gates open. Not wider than the three of you could get it. Kind of holding it open at this very easily shut release.
Quickly make his way in.
As you make your way in, as soon as the last of you etches in, the gates slam shut behind you. There are about 6 to 10 guards, not surrounding you, but standing on watch near the gate itself. Each one of them is armed in chainmail, is holding a spear, has a sword, or a longbow of sorts, or a crossbow on hand. And they're
Nice.
all kind of dressed with like the emblem of the City Watch of Oakledge with the royal insignia.
Now, is this a lot more guard presence and security than the last time they came
Roll
through?
me a insight check. With advantage because you have been here before.
All right.
First roll of the night. Also, Bob, thank you for the crit for all of them.
Insight, that is a soft 20.
Soft 20. Yes. This is significantly more guards than you have seen in the past. With all of your travels, it seems... These guards seem a little bit more on edge than you would expect. There's more guards. Even with it being nighttime, you wouldn't expect, this many. And there is kind of this general sense of unease and kind of fidgetiness, I guess, with each one. Like, they're clearly under a bit more higher wariness.
What's going on? Is it dragons, gnolls, aberrations, demons?
one of the guards speaks up. They're a bit on the younger side, probably like 18, 19, elven, or half elven at that. You haven't heard?
Maybe.
Lady Withersham's is dead. And armies are marching here. Duke Edford's troops came in the other day, demanding that they run the city, that he's in charge. To the northwest, Lady Valencia's amassing an army as well to march on the city. Meanwhile, the guards and the steward are the only thing that's keeping the city running at this point.
Oh. And that just puts a mood killer on things. Right. Well, is there some place that could get a little rest, get our bearings at least? Hate to bother you when you're keeping watch.
Yeah, in the first district, there is the... Let's see. What type of tavern are you looking for? Upscale, lower class, middle of the road?
Here's something, maybe middle of the road. They tend to be the most fun.
Alright, I would recommend the Screeching Hippogriff then.
Right. Straight on through, on the...
Yes, take a left, head up the road. It's about a 15-minute walk. You'll notice it. There's a statue of a hippogriff outside of the tavern. It'll be on your right-hand side. Don't stop for anything, though.
All right. Come on, then. Let's start swaggering down the road.
You start heading down the road. The statue of a hypocrite. There's not a lot of traffic on the road. At least pedestrian-wise. As you the three of you make your way up, it is largely deserted. Most of the houses have shut their shutters and cast out the lights for the night, which, it is a little late, but you'd expect a little bit more of a rowdy atmosphere as per your earlier visits to Oakledge. But you do see a small amount of guards patrolling, usually in groups of 2 to 4. Even off a quick glance, they look exhausted. And you're able to find the Screeching Hippogriff fairly easily. It does stand out. There is a raucous noise inside. There are the sound of fiddles playing and of clinking mugs, but it is largely diluted. There's a individual standing outside. He's this big, burly half-orc. Isn't wearing a shirt. It's just all scars and muscle. And he seems to be the bouncer for the night. He's just got his arms crossed.
Swagger up. Evening. Wayne.
1 gold entry fee.
All right. We'll just pull out 3 gold and hand it to him to cover the other 2.
He'll take the gold and he'll just give a thumbs in.
Yep.
And as you enter, it's this sprawled open bar atmosphere, where other taverns have a lot of tables and chairs to sit at. This one seems more of a dancing club atmosphere. It's got a rugged floor and ornate a lot of ornate space of like cherry wood that's been set on the floor, and then seats kind of hang on an upper balcony. But the downstairs is largely bar and open space for people to congregate. And, in the far right-hand corner, you've got your bard playing a fiddle.
Cool. We'll kind of glance to his companions. Let's just have fun for now.
Don't I always have fun? Are you saying I'm not fun?
Joachim vanishes as he teleports away.
You...
And just reappears at the bar, so...
Yeah. You, having known your companions this long, like, her fist was already clenched. Like, she was like 2 seconds from, giving you a knock on the jaw, as she has done many times. As you disappear, you can hear the cackle of your resident rogue, Valen, who sees this opportunity, and you can hear him like trying to like sneak away before her ire is directed towards him. And about 10 minutes later, he kind of like leans up against the bar next to you.
Yeah,
So,
10 minutes. 10 minutes in, he's already like into his second cup of ale.
Volan hasn't ordered a thing, but has a mug that he has no doubt stolen off somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on the war? Like, should we be staying here?
I think so. Or at least there's going to be a lot of people getting caught in the crossfire. No, and I figured we could do some good. At the very least, all of those brave people on the walls are holding their ground, protecting their home.
All right. I'm gonna slip out. I think I'm gonna get a little information for us. Get a few leads.
Yeah. Either like her going, getting killed or dying somehow seems a little off, but yeah. I know you know your sources and all of that. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, when you're the best, obviously you don't mess up.
Obvious.
But I'll catch in with you here. Get a room. I'll stop in when I'm ready. And Volan kind of slips out. Later on, you definitely hear the sounds of an arm being like slammed onto the table with some force, and kind of see Dazra just absolutely putting people in their place. But about 2 hours into your drinking is the point where you begin to hear on the eastern side of the city the sound of shouts.
Well, swag over to the window, look out, and see if there's something immediately visible.
What you can see is a lot of torches. Not just on the wall, but beyond. In the fields and the trees extending. You can see probably about a mile's worth of torches set up. And you can see movement, like very, very minute movement on the walls of people like rushing into the towers.
We'll glance around for Dasra, see if she's still in the bar somewhere.
Yeah, Dazra's about maybe 20 feet from you.
He'll swag over. Hey, there's a lot of torches outside, seem to be marching towards the city.
And what would you like to do about that?
I don't know. I assume, by the way, they're moving on the walls. It's not expected, and those armies that we were hearing about marching. Probably not good.
Probably not.
Yeah. Vulden's out and about looking for money. No, information. He's good. I think he'll be fine and find us. I want to go take a look.
All right. Do you think this is a Warhammer type thing or a mace type thing? You know what? I'll use both. And she just kind of like pats this like very worn maul on her shoulder, which has like a shield kind of cast over it, and then she has a mace on her hip. And she just starts making her way to the door.
Right. You'll do the same.
All right. And we are, as you are headed that way, we're going to shift over back a little upward and a little back in time to inside the grounds. Of course, I picked the wrong song. The group of you stand outside of the study, back in the library, having uncovered various amounts of information through each of your research, through Brodus and Zidar's awakening of a bird, and looking at the alchemical station, to Zosh's holding the book that the librarian has brought you. This is your first moment to kind of reconvene. Trick has kind of separated for the moment and is talking with the librarian at the moment, kind of fervently asking further questions about his mentor off to the side. Ashlyn is kind of standing there holding her glaive, kind of just waiting on him. And Zadar, for his part, I believe had separated from the party and had gone into the main large stained glass hallway to let the awakened bird out, as per his deal. And Zadar kind of makes his way back with a, so I woke a bird. They said she kept saying, "I'm sorry, so sorry." What did all of you find out?
I believe I was mostly standing by the door.
I looked through the document. She has an heir.
And you worked for her for many years and did not know this.
No, it's a
Correct?
secret. It said in here it was kept hidden. I'm telling you what I'm reading here.
Now, is this heir able to give me the stamps I require?
I mean, if this heir was in charge, probably.
Yet it seems to me that none of this would be legally sound, elsewise why are there also 3 other candidates vying for the position?
Well, they're vying for the position, but they probably don't realize there is an heir who would get the role.
Brodus, do you have much experience with the passage of inheritance?
No.
In my
Well, my minus, I did get, you know, from, my like ancestral dwarf down in the caverns. He gave me the place where, you know, I resided.
This is not necessarily what I speak of. It is more in my time as a cub. What we are trained in many parts are historical lineage. Yes, but in many cases of nobility where there is a question of inheritance, often it is not a declared heir or a straightforward answer, but instead that who can raise the greatest force and has the strongest alliances.
Well, I can't deny what you're saying. Even if that heir were to come in and someone took over the city, they're gonna take power.
It seems to me, I believe it is Lady Valencia we were hearing, which is supported by the
King.
crown.
Yep.
Correct. Then, if this heir does exist, and if it is known to those who hold the laws in this nation, it seems to me that there are machinations in place already to install someone that is not them.
But would it not also be, if we bring this information up to her, something that, you know, they would be able to help develop and protect them until they are able to rule?
Now, if you ask me, I don't think a noble would tell that there is a single unknown heir if they had the power. Is there a guarantee that she would? Zosh, what are your thoughts?
I think that regardless of what she says, if she were to sort of raise the heir in the meantime and sort of wonder if she has power in the meantime, would she be willing to eventually give it up? Who's to say she doesn't just continuously hold it for herself?
The only other thing I found was this. And Zadar pulls out a single golden key engraved with a house symbol. It was in her desk.
Zadar, would you mind doing what you do best and search the halls for a door which this might open?
I can definitely do that.
And can you do it, without attracting too much attention?
Brodus, he is not you.
Well, I'm just saying.
I will do my very best at not being seen. And Zadar will kind of slink away. The Dragonborn, the blue Dragonborn, kind of making their way away. Just to recap, you did find 4 books, which was the Treatises of the Fae, The Nature of the Gods, Divinity, The True Lie, among several others, as Zadar kind of slips off. I would roll, but he's got to roll like a 45, and there's no one going to see Zadar when Zadar doesn't want to be seen.
I think his passive is like a 25, right?
I think so. Let's see.
Because he can't roll below a 10.
He has a... No, we'll do it. That is a 22 stealth. He has a plus 15. He can't roll below a 15.
No, he can't roll below a 10 because he's a certain level rogue.
Oh, you're right.
So it's like the bottom cap is 25.
It's 25, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Rogues are stupid, man.
Rogues.
One day I'll get to play one. But Zadar slips off, giving you about a little bit of time to continue your investigation or what have you as he takes the key and begins to search.
And at this point, no one's raising any alarm yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
You're still about 20 minutes in the past.
Okay.
Yohim is on their 3rd drink.
Well, if we have nothing else here, Zosh, you have plenty of books about gods to read. Do we want to check the body?
It is located in the temple. Yes, is that within this keep or lower in the city?
Yeah, it's, we just gotta go, like, over that way. Down this hall, and then another hall, and then there's a staircase, and then that's where the temple they're referring to is.
It seems to me that we could do this.
All right, Zosh, how good are you at reading and walking?
I am an excellent multitasker.
Perfect. So we will head towards the temple.
Alright. So the 3 of... Well, we'll say the 5 of you. Trick and Ashlyn will follow you, but are kind of holding back. They keep having side conversations. Kind of hush-hush. But you quickly arrive to this carved stone temple that's built into the palace itself. It is almost as if someone built a temple and then moved it just to connect to a doorway. The golden engraved stained glass leads up in a hallway up to the doors, and the doors are open at this moment. And there is about 3 priests. One is dressed in white vestments, one in black, and one in red, that are kind of moving about the temple. One is kind of holding like a censer and kind of uttering like a late night prayer. The one in the red robes is sweeping. And the one in the black robes is kind of in the back of the room, but they seem to be adjusting some testaments and books.
Has it been mentioned to whom this is a temple to?
This is a temple to all of the gods. I don't think it's been mentioned, but this is just easy knowledge. The white, black, and red represent white for the gods of good, black for the evilly aligned, and red for the gods of neutrality. And they kind of, at least in this temple, seem to have a general, broad demographic, but not dedicated to any one specific god.
Non-denominational.
I know last time we had said Zosh had read a bit of the book, The
Yes.
Nature of God's Divinity, The True Lie, and keep reading through that. What does Zosh learn anything?
Yeah, why not? Let's say roll me either a religion check or a intelligence, just straight intelligence check.
Uh, we'll go with religion. Okay, that's a. I can do math. That is a 24.
24. So, one of the first things that you've kind of uncovered is the concept of power and magic. And the first chapter is about the power of bloodlines, sorcerers having innate magic, whether it is divinely inspired, whether it is from a specific race that has inherent magic. But then it covers bards and the power of creation, the power of will, the power of belief, and that faith to a god is really just the belief that something will happen. And it kind of poses this question of, does the god actually do anything? Or is it the belief of the believer and their fervent confidence that magic will happen or a result will happen that is fueling this power? And if so, do the gods really do anything? A heretical notion in many circles, potentially. But that's kind of what you've gleaned so far, is that do the gods actively participate? Or are we giving them power by attributing our success to them?
No, there's something more. I'm missing, of course, probably just something later in the book. I'll just if you need me, I'll just be back here. I need to read through a little bit more, and Zosh just like sits down in a pew and just going through the book as fast as they
Yeah.
can.
Which book was this? Was this the Lie?
The Lie of Divinity.
Yeah.
And we saw that title.
Yeah, I believe the
Okay.
librarian said it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not every book is 100% factual.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. It's just I feel like there's so little that gets definitively said that is known, and for something to even pose the question feels odd. I don't know
Okay.
how else to describe it.
Well, you keep reading, but don't let it get you down.
Yes. And of course, if you need anything, ears are always open.
Yeah, I'll let you know if lightning bolt, anything of that nature. Yeah. Where is the body?
So, as you kind of enter the temple itself, you and the Senra, I think Trick sits down next to Zosh and is reading his own book. And Ashlyn is kind of just standing there. But as the two of you head in, there is this stone pallet kind of raised up. You have like sets of pews, but on the far left-hand side of the temple, there is this stone pallet that rests the body. She is draped in. Lady Withersham's looks older than you remember her. She has this stark white hair that has been definitely kept since her passing. It is kind of put in a bun. She is covered from about the shoulder down in a white cloth, but is clearly still wearing the clothes that she passed away in, just because this is a crime scene. But very well kept. She looks like she could be sleeping. And as you enter, the priest that kind of has the sensor kind of looks at you and goes, "Oh, is there something I can help you with?"
We're investigating Lady Withersham's death on behalf of Lantario. Is it okay to approach?
Of course, of course. Just remember the gods see all.
They sure do.
If you need anything from any of us, just let us know. We
Will
have
do.
prepared the body as best we could.
Could you perhaps provide more information as to the state of her body when it arrived here?
Very tragic. Well, the cause of death, no doubt you've surmised, was poison. At least that's my guess. As what I found was that internal bleeding had happened, usually indicative of such things. However, you would know better than me. There was no outward wounds that we could tell.
You, to find this internal bleeding, you sliced her on the front, or how
Oh,
did...
no. I'm just looking at the inside of the mouth. As she had
Was
been
there-
coughing up blood.
Were there signs in this blood of food she may have imbibed? Was this ingested?
I couldn't tell you. We couldn't get any definitive information off it. I do apologize.
While they're conversing back and forth, does Brodus anywhere near him find like just random paper and a quill? It doesn't even have to be like, paper without words on. Like if he just opened a tome, he could just write on a page.
Yeah. One of the priests was putting away scriptures, so there are plenty of holy books. But there is, on kind of a raised dais, a piece of paper that is resting there in a quill, that probably is to denote, like, attendance or, who is going to be doing what for upkeep of the temple.
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab it regardless of the words on the front, flip it over, and just start, like, as he was telling her the things that he had noticed, just writing things down.
Okay.
Because Bros does not have a great memory.
Yeah, you quickly begin to jot down what you've been made aware of. Can you roll me a perception check?
Oh. What is 2 plus 6?
That's
8.
I will
Wait.
say-
That's 8.
You can add a d4. So you're wearing my talisman.
That's true.
I can.
You know, I'm even going to let you make it with advantage.
I don't need to. It's a 4.
You
So,
so
total
might need
12.
to.
Alright, roll your d20
Yeah.
again, though.
2 plus 6 again.
Do you want to use a crit? You have one on the board.
Oh my.
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. Letting that 12 roll. As you kind of come up to the dais, your knee bumps into part of the stone. That juts out just like a quarter inch more than the rest of the roughly hewn stone. You don't think too much of it.
Okay.
as I'm kind of standing with this priest by the body,
Mhm.
what sort of sense might I get from my divine sense in this area, and then also with my just passive detect magic?
All right.
Would I pick up anything strange?
So you don't pick up any undead. It is hallowed. You do pick up hints of celestial.
Would just from the kind of like aura of the place or from the body?
From the body.
Oh. Would that be from like, okay, so from detect magic, since I've got the two things,
Yes. So
would I be able to differentiate, is this celestial influence, is that like this divine magic that's like gentle repose or whatever, or is it something beyond that?
Yeah, so I will say this. With detect magic, definitely gentle repose has been cast on the body.
Yeah.
With divine sense, this is hallowed ground. However, with divine sense, you also are picking up that there is some remnant of celestial energy emanating from around the body. It is no longer present, but it is like this dew left on a window, the last few streaks in the morning kind of coming down, is...
Brothers, come here. I reach up and curve a clawed finger to kind of bring him over as I shift over to the body. Might I be able to do an investigation roll to see if I can find anything? Okay.
I will, aid that
Sure.
investigation.
Are you going to Bardic Inspiration it?
You know what? Why not? Why not? Because I'm not helping here.
Alright, so make that roll with advantage and add... Is it a d6?
It's a D8.
It is a D8.
A d8, okay.
The highest there is going to be 14 plus 7 plus 1 on the D8, so 22.
Okay, would you like to use your d6 for remembering Valencia's name?
Sure, since you're... I don't know.
He's just making you blow it.
Yeah, he's just making me blow it.
That's the problem is when I play with you guys for multiple years.
Okay, it's a 3, so it's a 25.
25. Just hitting the DC.
Oh.
Well, never mind.
I don't always lead you astray. Just mostly. As you begin to investigate the body and investigate the area around it, you... Explain to me how you're doing this.
With my eyes just kind of like shimmering with that kind of like the night sky sort of, as I almost peer through this veil of magic, I shift around the body, kind of tracing what lines of dew of this influence remain, and I guess I'm trying to ascertain, kind of corroborating or seeing what this might remind me of, even if I don't necessarily know precisely like the identity of what has happened, but kind of a process of elimination, like in like what aspects it shares with other.
Legitimately Sinra's Mind Palace.
Yeah. It's just like an episode of the House, just like... So as you begin to slowly go over the body of Lady Withershams, I'm going to focus on the body, then I'll focus on the divine aspect. Secondly, because they are two separate things. As you begin to observe the body going down, at her left hand, something stands out to you. there is a minute trace of Fey magic in her left index finger. It is the size of a pinprick. And as you begin to kind of round the table, I assume you're kind of doing a full 360. On the far side is where the divine kind of remnants were. And as you kind of come around to about the part, like the exact space that this energy is kind of wafting in the air, it is almost as if something was standing there looking down at this palette. Is the feeling you kind of get.
Interesting. And this presence that is standing there looking down has departed, basically? Yes. Okay. Would I recognize the like flavor of it? Is this like a divine sort of celestial entity I've encountered before? Or is it like wholly new to me?
It before.
Okay.
But it is reminiscent of, I'm trying to think. You've met your benefactor, but they are not divine, or they are beyond what divine encompasses to a degree. But this is powerful, but I would say it is not to the level you would expect of a deity, whether lesser or greater. It is something between Exarch and Angel.
Okay, and then last question before I turn and start sharing some of this. The pinprick at her finger.
Yep.
Can I lift the hand and look at this spot?
Mm-hmm.
And would I potentially be able... Okay, so I'll just tell you where my mind's at right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming this is a point of entry for poison. Now, I'm not particularly good at medicine or nature. Might I be able to ask for more of like a history roll as to the nature of like poisons that I've heard of nobility falling to?
I'll give this to you for a freebie. I think I'm not gonna make you roll because I think your character has a idea of what is going on, and I think it's a reasonable idea to suspect. So I'm not gonna make you make a medicine roll. Like, this is clearly a way poison could have been injected into the body.
Yeah.
That is a reasonable kind of way to approach that. So I'm not gonna have you roll it. I don't think you necessarily would have the knowledge of like, yes, these poisons X, Y, Z, had murdered people. I think you're like, yes, like hemlock. We all know like hemlock is poisonous. We know some people that have been poisoned by this, but outside that general knowledge, there's not like clear. Definitive...
I wouldn't be able to like buy the description of what happened to her, like relate it to. I've heard this sounds like a poisoning I've heard of before.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. Like the logic is sound enough that I think it's reasonable sounding. And about this moment, you hear a horn go off at the eastern gate.
My ears like twitch and turn like radio dishes.
And the priest kind of like look out a little bit in alarm at like the loud blaring sound in the middle of the night.
So what'd you find?
Uh, and she seems distracted for a moment by the blaring outside, like she's intending to turn and address that, but then you like kind of brought her and grounded her back to this moment here. It seems to me that this lady's body was being watched by some sort of celestial entity.
Okay.
And as far as poison, she lifts the hand and gestures to the pinprick. It seems we may have found a method.
Like they put it through her finger. Is that what you're saying?
Likely.
Okay.
I do not see why else she would have this random prick in the center of her finger on the night that she perished.
Fair enough. And Bros is just going right down to a little diagram of like a finger prick and be like, okay.
However, perhaps we should address this blaring. It is late in the night. I do not believe this is. And it's like keeping going off,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
At first it was the eastern gate, then it like goes and all the gates start kind of blowing war horns. This is I'll give this to you for free because you've been in a city under siege before. These are definitely warnings that the city is potentially under attack.
Yeah, her features harden, and you see her tail kind of flick in this aggressive, almost irritated fashion, kind of hitting thoughtlessly against the bottom of the sort of raised dais that the body is laid upon.
Brodus will stash the quill and, rolled up paper in his, well, does his pants have pockets? I don't know.
Sure.
Great. Stash it there and just be like, okay, we're going to have to finish this. But what's the plan?
And she kind of turns and looks. What are the priests doing in response to the flaring?
The one that had the texts that was like straightening them and putting them on the back, like on this like golden kind of cabinet, begins to take them off the cabinet and like bring them to like a downstairs area. It's like taking them by the armfuls, and then the one who was sweeping has gone to assist him. The one that you were talking to still is there, but is like growing worried, and starts moving to the dais, not where she's lied, but like in the central pew, and begins to kind of pull a religious text and open it, and he is beginning to cast some spells, or at least prepare spells, as he kind of listens to the war horn and starts kind of reciting verses.
Is there a location within the keep that will you three be safe here?
Oh, well, the keep will be safe. I've no doubt that. But for now, we're just going to take precautions and move the text to a secure vault.
Might I ask something of you?
Of course.
Her ears kind of flick again, as I assume she has kind of like better hearing than these humans with her like cat-like ears. So they're just kind of like constantly flicking in irritation at these distant sounds. If we are to go and find the state of this attack that your horns warn us of, might you perhaps provide us with a blessing from your god before we depart?
Of course. I can cast it on up to 5 people. Just the 2 of you.
Oh, and the one back there.
Zash,
Please.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
We have horns going off.
Right. Yes. That can wait. All right. What should we do?
I've requested the priest say perhaps some sort of blessing for us before we depart.
Yes.
The priest kind of pulls out this holy symbol from their vestments. It's like this silver sun. By the light of the dawn that breaks the night, so too shall problems pass off to the light. May the light of truth and good guide you this day. And he kind of waves the little sun icon like in a full day almost, and you kind of feel like the tingle of magic.
I bow my head to him in respect.
I will also bow, but then turn to Cinder and be like, if we're gonna have a fight, I I need my I need armor. I need things.
It's about this time that you hear Zadar. Well, you probably don't hear Zadar. Even if Zadar was running, no one hears him. Zadar, like, comes in and, like, tosses your bag of confiscated stuff. I've, spent some time looking around for where the key goes. I may have found a room, but you're not going to be very happy about it. They have a mirror. Also, I stole your stuff back.
Oh,
You're welcome.
yeah, I see that. Thank you.
I believe I may wish to go to the ramparts to see the state of this force, if they are within the walls already.
That would be very
Perhaps.
unfortunate.
It would not be the first time.
Well, let's get going then. I would hate to miss a party.
And we montage.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a quick 5 to 10 minute break, and then we'll be right back with what's going on in the walls with, maybe a little bit of a time skip, who knows. So we'll see you in about 5 to 10, get some water, get some snacks. Don't cry too much, because I'm gonna cry knowing that we're apart from each other. So, we'll see you very, very soon. Hello, everybody. We're back from our break. I hope you had got some water and got some snacks. We'll hop right back into it, shall we? Oakledge is under siege. The group of you, Zadar, Trick, Ashlyn, Zosh, Simra, Brodus, head from the keep. Lanthario catches up to you with a group of guards. You see Guard Captain David is standing with him in plate mail. Lanthario, for probably the first time in his life, is wearing armor. It is engraved with the sigil of Oakledge, and he looks vastly uncomfortable, but he is headed out with them towards the sound of the first war. However, at the walls is a different story from up on the cliff. Yahim, you and your companion arrive, and there's a flurry of action, even by the time you got there. You can see, before you get about, we'll say 500 yards from the wall itself, and the battlements going up in the staircases, you can see spells flashing. Fireballs, lightning, striking forward, and seeing guards on the wall and wizards on the wall streaking out white shields of magic as they blast them away before they can hit damage. There are exceptions. There are the sound of mortar being struck happens repeatedly. You can see crossbow bolts flying over the wall and landing on the street itself, onto the houses. People inside the houses in the first district have begun to leave and flee. Some of the individuals stepping out of their houses with old family heirlooms of weapons and rushing to the gate, rushing to wherever there is order to assist and to help.
Right. Well, I know you'd like to get in close, but might not be the easiest right now.
I'm quite surprised we didn't hear this army when we came, given we came on the South Road.
That's true.
Well, I have no doubt you intend to go up there, don't you?
Yep.
Well, it's my duty to make sure you don't get hit or do anything stupid. And she slaps a hand on your shoulder and casts Shield of Faith on you.
Well,
Just remember to stay behind me. It's
Sure.
much easier to block things with a shield than it is to have to run towards them to get to you.
all right, you can come along with me.
As if you had a choice.
Move forward a bit, and when he's within 100 feet of the battlement, we'll twin cast a vortex warp
Okay.
to teleport him and her up onto the battlement.
Alright. What does your spell look like?
He grabs his spellcasting focus that he has hanging around his neck, and they both briefly, in a kind of swirling purplish blue energy, disappear into the astral plane and then are pulled back out there, up where he is meaning to go.
As you arrive on the battlement, it is a flurry of chaos. Do you have dark vision?
I do.
Okay. So you are able to see everything in black and white. You see the illumination of torches, of fire. There are screaming individuals everywhere. The sound of troops rushing with ladders. Down below, there's like this wide field. And there are thousands upon thousands of troops. The banner is the Duke of Bedford, and of his troops. There are like banners being brought up with like on spears. There are in the far back. You do see some war weapons, but they don't seem to have been constructed. They seem to be in the progress of being constructed. But that is very far outside of your casting range at the moment. However, troops are rushing with ladders and the like, trying to get on the battlement. On the far side, you kind of look. You see some of the guards kind of get blasted away as this lightning bolt strikes the mortar right at the crest and gap. And you see two individuals light up for a second and then be blasted about off the back of the battlement, and then falling about like 70 feet down to the ground below. Even as you're up there, arrows and crossbow bolts are flying past your face, narrowly missing you. One of them comes close, and your companion just kind of smacks a shield up in the way.
All right, no time to play around then. Let's bring out the mascot. He will weave his magic and summon a radiant dragon using Summon Draconic Spirit, 6th level.
And
from
how
a
does this
sim-
look as you summon it?
Once again, pulling from the astral shard, a small gap kind of opens, and then 2 golden claws kind of grab the edges and wrench it open wider, as this kind of somewhat translucent gold and white dragon that is only large category, fortunately, but still decent, kind of forces its way out, lets out a roar, and kind of sweeps out, begins unleashing radiant breath on whoever is closest to the top of the wall.
So as it kind of swoops out, its breath weapon begins to sweep the wall, burning and engulfing ladders of troops that are kind of clambering up. This sheer force and heat. I'm assuming it's fire? Radiant fire?
It is radiant.
Radiant.
Yeah.
The radiant fire kind of erupts over these ladders and just shatters them, along with most of the people on top of them. Clearing the way, and then on its back runs, kind of burning along the base of the wall to anyone that's kind of trying to seek cover or get ready for a second assault. However, about 30 minutes or so have kind of passed with you casting spells, fighting. You're relatively unscathed at this point when a group of people kind of run up onto the battlement itself. A Leonin dressed in plate, a dwarf dressed in leather, I want to say.
Actually, it's not leather armor, but it's just like more than just plain cloth clothes. Like, it's that middle ground of like hide.
And last but not least, you see Zosh dressed in, I believe it's chainmail?
Plate.
Plate. Oh, nice. I'm generous to you all. But dressed in plate as the 3 of them and a blue dragonborn kind of approach. There's a look of recognition from the dragonborn, but there are more pressing issues at the moment. And it's about this time that one of the guards nearest to you, one of the guard captains, kind of motions for the group of you to get into one of the nearby towers. And he just goes, "The wizards are about to unleash a spell, get in!" And he's like hollering at everybody to like get inside as the actual like, towers on the wall begin to alight with this like green, vibrant glow.
Right. All right. Playtime's over. Let's go.
Sindra kind of gets about halfway there as she's kind of reaching and like pulling archers away from the wall as well, and kind of like shoving some of them in the direction of the tower.
Easy enough to do. I'm assuming Zosh and Brodus, you kind of head into the tower as well.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. As you go in, there's about 15 seconds after you get in when you hear an audible hum and screaming from outside as the towers begin to vibrate. And you hear, even without the ability to detect magic, this is some high-level magic that is radiating out from these. Probably innately cast into the battlements itself.
Does it
But-
seem like the magic is something that has been cast onto the tower? Or, like, is it something that is ongoing to the tower?
Looks like it is a capability of the towers, but it needs someone to have the knowledge to do it. Which is
Okay.
the war wizards are like in the tower, and you can see as you kind of get inside, there's a crystal that is floating in the center of the tower, and there are 3 wizards, one kind of triangulating, and they are kind of holding their hands and channeling magic through it.
Okay.
However, the door behind you isn't really shut on the tower, but the entire wall kind of irradiates this fell green. And Sidra was able to grab a lot of archers, but down at the nearest tower, you see 1 or 2 people running to it that didn't make it, and they just get evaporated by magic.
Out of curiosity, this fell magic that you speak of, does it remind me of some demons that we might have seen on the Plane of Bones many long episodes ago?
I will say no. This
Okay.
is more of like the disintegrate spell.
Okay. I would like to be kind of by the door with it, like, just slightly cracked, but keeping it kind of shielding those within the tower.
You're easily able to do so, blockading the tower. The guard captain, I believe that you have not met this guard captain. This is Captain Tremaine, one of the trio of guard captain.
Mm-hmm.
You've met Captain David.
And we did briefly meet Tremaine.
Okay, yes, so you do recognize Captain Tremaine. He is the one
Yeah.
currently presiding on the wall. And he looks at the wizards who are kind of concentrating on the spell. How long is this going to keep up? And one of the wizards that's like kind of in the corner, he isn't currently channeling the spell. Half an hour at most, or we can turn it off and turn it on, but until we run out of energy, and then I don't think we'll be able to do it again for quite a while. Can anyone here channel spells?
I can.
Nope.
Yep.
Dude.
Alright. That can extend the time. Anyone capable of spending their capabilities and their magical energy can keep it going. Can keep people off the wall.
Sure.
Yes. Whatever I can do.
Wonderful.
And to my understanding, when there is no promise that those soldiers, they are not going to come up during this time, can this not be saved to activate again once they have crested the wall? Or is this only one activation?
It can be activated another time, but it takes about 20 minutes for us to get it going again. In that time, someone could get into the tower, someone could fly over.
Understood.
Well, I think if we let it down and we let some of them come up, we can hold them off until there is enough of them up to make it worth it again.
Otherwise, we are buying time before the inevitable.
Mhm. And we're tiring out wizards when they don't need to be.
Captain Tremaine kind of speaks up. He goes, well, the reason we ordered this one this time is so that we can organize. This isn't to cause damage. It's time for us to get all troops in reserve ready. Hard to organize when you're in the middle of a melee.
Is this the first time the city has been under siege in living memory?
Aye.
And your soldiers, they are all green?
I mean, some are a little bit brown.
Brodus.
I'm just saying they have some experience.
Some of them are ex-mercenaries. Some are more green. The ones that aren't green are the ones that we have at the far gates.
Do you trust the other commanders within your units who are overseeing these other locations?
I trust him with my life. Captain David has served nigh 25 years.
He was here when I was here before.
And do we know what forces are assaulting? Did they fly banners?
The Duke of Edford. That toad decided to finally show his true colors, it seems.
The Green
Is-
Dragon. Yes?
Aye.
From this arrow slit,
Mm-hmm.
or like this tower, is there an arrow slit to where we can see
Yeah.
towards them?
Yes, you can.
Can one, because I would assume the Duke of Edford is out there, but like way, way, way in the back.
Possibly. From your understanding of the Duke of Edford, he does have some martial capabilities. But it'd be hard to pick him out of a crowd, especially at night, especially among thousands of troops.
Right, but like,
Yeah,
if
but
he were
that's a
to
good
be there,
assumption.
he'd be.
Yeah.
Okay. May I, since I have my things back, I want to write a little note
Okay.
on a paper bird
Okay.
to the Duke of Edford.
Okay.
And I want to tell Tremaine and his men to watch where it flies, and where it ends up will be where he's at, and that is where you want to direct any return fire.
Might one of our present wizards perhaps cast some sort of light on it so we can track it in the dark?
The wizard
I
was
can-
kind of. Oh, wonderful.
I can do this. You stay focused on the spell and cast light on the paper bird.
So my note basically reads, "Hey, I found you."
I love it.
And we're gonna open the door, and I'm gonna send it out that door and see what happens.
Sure. So
Or at the arrow slit, not over the thing where it'll get disintegrated.
yeah. So through the,
Yeah.
So as you kind of let it go out the arrow slit, it takes off. Given this is a very bright bird, so it does stand out. You know,
I think
it's a smart concept. So
like-
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll a D100.
But would they even like? Would they
Would
just
they
be
let the bird
utterly?
get
Yeah,
to
like
them?
would they just be utterly confused?
That's what we're rolling to find out. All right. Your bird flutters off its paper wings, carrying it, lighting up the night sky amongst the reds and oranges of fire, the crackling of the green energy from the towers, and the spells coming off from the assaulting army. It flutters on the northeast, setting off deeper into the army. Your eyes are able to track it to the end of your dark vision, and then further due to the illumination. Towards the middle of the army, it kind of hovers for a moment, circles, and then you see it erupt in flame.
Well.
But it does look like it intended to land.
Mm-hmm.
How far out is that?
This is probably, best guess is like 2,000 feet.
by the trebuchets.
Well, there you go. That's where he is.
Far away.
So
as
what
possible.
does Tremaine want to do with that? I guess.
So Tremaine kind of was keeping watch on where the bird went, along with all of you. He kind of lowers his voice and he walks over to the wizard that was kind of resting, not actively casting, and he whispers something. And then he goes, I bet we could probably sneak someone out, sneak a group of people out to go take care of that if we had to. Odds are I don't think that they're going to live.
Well, but if he doesn't live, would the fighting continue?
I don't know. It's possible. I don't know how loved he is.
This operation, do you think it's best to conduct it tonight? Will the walls fall under a single day of siege?
No. We won't fall tonight. It's going to take him at least weeks.
You think he intends a method of attrition then?
Would make sense.
God's will it so.
But there could also be, we know that he had some men inside. I just hope that they don't assault the other gates during the night.
Perhaps these men inside, you say. Do you know where they may be located? This could be the best utilization of our resources at present.
I believe they were staying at a tavern. The Hippogriff, Screeching Hippogriff.
Do any of you... Could someone lead us there?
Yeah, just hanging out there. Yeah.
She like smells a little ale in there.
Thunder jugs. That painting. Yeah. Well, that tavern, remember? That's where I've seen these ones before.
Dazra speaks up. Oh yes, they have a statue outside of Thunderjugs in the Crystal Caverns.
That's yeah.
You have partaken in this family dining establishment?
Yeah. the best, but still pretty good for location, you know.
Not the best.
He probably didn't have the signature drinks.
Is that the one that electrocutes people? What is it called? The kablam?
The kaboom. Yeah. You're supposed to have at minimum one of those every time you go.
It is owned by one of my dearest friends. I'm very...
It was fantastic.
That is a different answer than you just gave, but I will...
Hey, it's the correct answer. You said you know of this hippogriff.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's the place, yeah.
Then, Captain Tremaine, if it is agreeable to you, I believe we shall take our leave and see to these interlopers within the wall, that they do not sabotage the efforts of our defenses from within.
I think that's a good plan. You have my leave. Then he will kind of reach into his pocket and pull out a single coin. It is not minted with gold, silver, or platinum. It is like this almost blood red. It'll let me get in contact with you. Lets me cast the sending spell to you.
Excellent. We'll just reach out.
Alright, well, good luck. Try not to die.
You as well. Come on, then. Glory waits for nobody.
Yeah, Trick and Ashlyn and Zadar kind of Zadar's like, I'm going to stay here, and he kind of pulls out his med kit and starts wrapping up and bandaging some of the injury. And Trick is kind of volunteering to cast spells into the crystal, and Ashlyn's just kind of hanging out. So we'll fast forward a little bit as the group of you arrive towards the screeching hippogriff. It's about 15 minutes. I'm assuming you're running, so maybe a little less, maybe about 10. As you arrive, there is already a commotion. There is the sound of smashing inside, of furniture being smashed, of blades. Resting out in the front entrance, you see one of Duke Edford's men. Doesn't look like they're dressed up like they knew the siege was happening, but it does look like they were armed and ready to do what they wanted. He is lying dead, his neck has been stabbed. And there are two other guard troops of Duke Edford's that are also dead. One, his head has been smashed through a window and he's just kind of limply hanging. And the other one is laying in the street like he was trying to crawl away. And there is a half-orc that has 6 javelins in his chest and is just slumped against the wall.
Are
Wow.
there any of them remaining?
There's noise coming from inside, which sounds like there is definitely some remaining.
Then I shall burst through the door.
Alright, as you burst in, you see about 16 troops. Some of them are fighting other guards from the city. There's a few upstairs that are kind of clashing with swords. I will say this. In the far corner, there are about 6 dead troops. All of them look like they were dispatched with a knife. I will say this, Yohim, this is definitely your friend Vulin's work. And about a few seconds later, you see Volin literally on the ground, clutching his side.
Immediately throw a healing word his way. But
At the healing word, he's still laying there, but he's definitely not on the tail end of dying. And he just kind of gives a weak thumbs up. as you approach, the... Oh, did I give you guys his name? From earlier today, the Duke Edford Captain.
Oh.
The one with the flamboyantly curled mustache.
I
Looks your way.
remember meeting him. Yeah, but I don't remember.
The one that I suggested that he leave and not mess with Sinra.
Yeah. Which he did leave and did not mess with Sinra. He's standing there. He's actually not fighting. He's like sitting at a table as his men are fighting, and he looks to you and just goes, I didn't know about this.
Insight check.
Yeah.
Roll me an insight check.
Okay. That's a nat 1.
Hard telling, not knowing.
I was gonna pull out Tears of Gold anyways.
It's fair. About 4 of the guards inside start to rush you. Like, they know who you are.
21
Yep.
on insight.
21 insight. This does look like someone that does have a sense of right and wrong. He seems to be telling the truth. That he did not know that they were going to siege a city. At least not like this.
You claim you did not know, and yet your men are fighting in the tavern and destroying these things and murdering people. Yes?
While they're arguing back and forth, as his men approach, I'm literally stabbing people.
You know, you tell me how you do this, because we're not gonna roll initiative on this. Like, you
Oh,
just
yeah,
tell me
no.
as you guys are all badasses.
Like,
what you're doing.
I'm essentially dual wielding the Tears of Gold and a dagger. So the Tears of Gold, if you remember, is the sickle, the really cool
Yes.
one. And I'm literally just like stabbing and slicing through people and just like listening halfway to the conversation, but just like they aren't getting closer.
As I was entering, the fallen city guard, if I could, I would dip a hand down as I pass them and just kind of spare the dying.
Sure. Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah. I mean, as you're kind of walking past, some of them are too far gone. But a few kind of feebly stir as you touch them. The captain looks at you and just goes, I didn't sign up for this.
Then perhaps you should return with us to Captain Tremaine to inform him of what you can regarding the capabilities of these troops that assault these walls.
There was a moment where he considers that. And he stands up and draws a longsword at his hip. And as one of his troops are coming at you, he engages them. And starts fighting them. It is over within 6 seconds. He kind of cuts through the first one, and then a second one stabs him right through the side. And he collapses. And he looks at you, Sinra. And there is a moment of like, as a paladin, you have an oath. Whether it's dedicated to crown, whether dedicated to country. You get a sense that this is him trying to keep that honor without disobeying. He's like, the best he can do is dying in battle. Without betraying Duke Edford.
She kind of snarls beneath her breath as she struggles with the desire to deny him this. But that... Yeah. I think she is going to make the conscious choice to let him die honorably.
All right.
And...
Yeah, he goes down quickly. The one who stabs him, he kind of takes with him. And the remaining guards, seeing that, charge all of you. Between the group of you, it goes quickly. You're level 13. Like, these are chumps. And we're going to fast forward to about a week from now.
Where I can finally heal.
You get a long rest, I guess. But it's been about a week of seeing Constant Siege. What's changed for all of you? If anything, as the week has gone on.
Definitely the kind of like grandiose facade Joachim gives off has kind of like started to get a bit hollow. He still like tries to give it off, but it's less like powerful throughout the whole thing. It's definitely a lot more just not trying to do anything fancy, just fireball, vortex warp, fireball.
I think Sinra, as a paladin who is much more useful in close combat than a lot of this ranged sort of attrition warfare, would almost impose herself on the local guard command, as and like kind of insert herself in a position of providing orders and shouting and moving people about, applying what she knows from, well, her people's history of warfare.
Easy enough.
Brodus will be up there with Joachim, casting fear and shooting crossbow bolts, and then just during the days just like continually sending birds to him, just being like, hey, we found your friends in the tavern. Just sending him little, just like almost insults, but without directly insulting him.
Some of them definitely do get to him, and do arrive without being incinerated in the air. Especially later on in the siege. It's like when resources on both sides are getting a little bit more tied up. Zosh, anything new with you?
Zosh, whenever there is fighting, is basically being a lightning artillery cannon, just throwing out lightning bolts wherever they can to slow down or hit people. And any spare time they have, they are going back through the book. I imagine it's not a lot of spare time, but whenever they have like a moment in between battles, just to get a page in or something, just trying to read as much as they can.
Especially when the towers do activate. I think that's when you get a lot of time to sit, collect yourselves, get some reading in. Senra, you are indispensable at the moment. Captain Nazan, the third captain, about 4 days into the siege, was killed. As he was defending the wall, waiting for that 20-minute kind of power up, and was pulled off of it. So your assistance is becoming more and more reliant as the resources guarding are being stretched thin. Volunteers have kind of been stepping up to hold the battlements during those periods when the towers are no longer active. On this side of the wall, there are currently 4 towers out of 5. One, at this point, the siege equipment has entirely destroyed with trebuchets and catapults, and 2 of them are not looking great. They are still holding, but barely. And you can kind of see Duke Edford's troops kind of amassing for one large assault, now that their artillery is in play. And about this time, there is another horn from the eastern gate. Sorry, the western gate. That it is now under siege. As Lady Valencia's troops begin to siege the city.
I think at one point, Sinra returns from the wall that she had kind of taken over command from Captain Nizan after he perished, with a flash of these almost like golden eagle-like wings extending from her back as she kind of soars back through the city over to find Brodus.
You're muted at the moment, Brodus.
I'm up on that wall, and I'm currently in the process of writing my next letter to Lord Edford. Now, when these get to him, are we assuming that he is actually directly reading them, or are we hoping that someone else is reading it to him?
Because the way Paper Bird works is it goes to who it's addressed to.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that it is landing at Duke Edford, and then he is not touching it, because it could have a spell cast on it.
Oh.
And they are either dispelling the magic or just incinerating the bird.
Yeah.
But he could be reading the ones they dispel. It's like, you suck butts, man. Brodus.
No. Regardless of what they do, on this next one, I want to write it with illusory script so that when it gets there, if someone does read it without dispelling it, it will read by the order of Duke Edford. We are to retreat from the sieging, just like so someone is out there reading it aloud.
Are you issuing it to a specific person in the army?
Oh no, because I have no idea any of their names. So it's just going to him and hoping someone reads it.
Okay. We'll see where that goes. But as the siege continues, we're going to fast forward. Because yes, Senra?
I wanted to go to him for a reason.
Oh, yes, go to Brodus.
Okay. Brodus, when you are done with that quill, do you have any remaining birds or
Yes, I do. I have hold on. I've got 2 left.
might I have one, or do you require both to harass him still?
Yes. Do you want me to write it for you?
I am capable of writing a letter.
I'm just saying. Okay. and hands over the quill.
And Brodus, is there anyone you might wish to write something to should this siege progress more poorly than it is already?
Are you asking me if there's a letter I want to write someone if I die?
That is precisely what I'm asking you, Brodus. You are using these frivolously.
And he just is like, well, there's one person who should know. And just leaves it. But you write yours first.
I will take the paper bird and quill and inscribe upon it a missive to my mate, Brione Ashpaw. To inform him of mine and Zash's location within the city of Oakledge, and the state of the current siege upon the city.
Okay.
And in part to apologize if I do not return from it.
All right. Any last conversations for this week?
No?
All right. Then we are going to find the next music. We're going to move forward 2 weeks. At a specific moment, the western gate that this siege first began with, the door is cracking and splintering, and it is moments before it falls. Leadership amongst the defenders has routed, split between the two sides of the city under siege. The gate splinters as all of you are kind of fleeing back towards the keep, retreating for kind of a last sallying defense. Brodus, as you are heading back, you see Lantharu. He's kind of fallen behind. It looks like he's limping a bit, and the gates kind of smash and fall as troops begin pouring in. Lantharu does have some guards with him, but it is going to be difficult. You know that Lantharu is not a fighter.
I want to run over and kind of help pick him up, but kind of push him along and put him behind me. And understanding that they're probably coming in almost half circle surrounding us, as he is not moving quickly. But I am going to go into a rage and just one after another. And if they try and get past me, my attention will shift and grab the next one that gets closest.
Brodus, is this the fight you die in? Or do you survive?
He survives.
Alright. tension and focus of your rage dictates your swings, like a crescendo of violence in a song that you have sang, only recently knowing the tune to. You carve a opening for Lantharion through the enemies, as some of the guards, noticing your predicament, charge to kind of hold that opening just long enough for you to get out. You are bleeding from a dozen wounds, given your blood is coagulated, and unlike those still living, isn't leaking through your vestments, but it is clear to see the several incisions of blades, spears, and the arrows that are sticking into you as you make it back to the keep. Yohim, over the 2 weeks, one of your companions has fallen. Who was it and how did it happen?
Say, Valan, kind of hearing that we now know where the commander is, decided to go out and ply his trade, see if we could succeed on a decapitation strike. And a few days later, his head was flung over the wall back into the city.
Unfortunate, but not many people get the closure in war, or the certainty. As Dazra and you flee, Dazra's left arm is in a sling, and she has strapped her shield onto it to protect her chest and kind of hold it. She has her mace, which is worn and bent and rent. Some of these studs on the mace itself have been chipped away over the past few weeks as you arrive into the keep itself. Sinra, in the past 2 weeks, while defending the battlement, something happened to you. You received an injury, did you not?
I believe that it was a unfortunately located fireball atop the battlements that seared a large portion of my left arm, kind of licking flame up underneath the plate mail, and lending burns that were a bit beyond the rapid healing magic we could attend at the time. And it was later that day and in the dark hours of the night that it was recommended that lest I wish to go into shock and be of little use to the battlements at all, that a portion of that arm would be better removed.
And Zosh, you have been reading your book during the stillness of battle. Over the course of these past few weeks, those who have seen your spells have begun to hold you in some level of reverence, calling you the Walking Storm. It is a little odd that when a cheer goes up calling your name, you could almost swear your spells do a little bit more, are a little bit more real. They hit a little bit more. And like the stillness between the storm, your mind is a storm with what could be true, what should be true, and what is. As you fall back to the palace, the group of you, the remaining guards are holding the front gate. Zidar kind of looks at all of you and says, I don't want to assume, but maybe we should go through the mirror. I
And
don't know if we're all gonna make it, though.
And abandon all those within this keep.
I don't much fancy dying here. I know a dead city when I see it.
You see her features kind of harden there for a moment. As her gaze seems to be elsewhere, like kind of staring through a wall as she kind of turns her head, and you see that long, deep scar along her throat. Like the sort of scar that someone really shouldn't have lived through. Brodus. Sorry. Zash. I understand that you may not know what this mirror is we speak of. Brodus, do you think it's wise?
I mean, it is an exit. An exit to which he can give you another entrance.
I don't mean to raise questions at a time where action should be taken, but a mirror?
Just follow, or, just do what she says.
Words cannot do justice to what lies beyond these mirrors. It is ancient magics.
Just when you enter, Zash, be careful with what you say and what you are willing to offer.
Okay.
I look to Joachim and the companion he has left. I have not known each of you long, but it is with a deep sorrow that I extend this curse and perhaps gift to you as well. If you wish to escape this place, there is a way between the worlds.
Questions I have about that, but I don't know if we have the time. Will there be any way to get back?
I look to Zadar.
Zidar, having had a conversation with the entity at some point, offers a shrug and goes, I'm uncertain whether you can go back to where you once were. But it's better than being here when Valencia's army starts fighting Duke Edford's.
I'll put it this way. Where you are going, there's always a door.
The place that we returned last time we traversed through those halls was much like our own. In a way, you will be returning, and in more ways than that, those you know, those around you, will know not of the difference of our time here with what they've experienced. It is another world of sorts. A mirror of ours.
Okay, yeah, got that. We'll look down at Dasra. Fine. What is it? Said it cost something.
It is... If you are meant to be there, then I think perhaps in a way a price has already been paid. It was at our arrival that he informed us of our... He answered many questions and in a way cursed us with knowledge. So it was not anything we were not already doing.
It's about this moment that the front door begins to shatter and buckle. Whatever decision you are about to make needs to be made quickly.
I think we'll all get to the mirror.
All right.
I am.
Continue.
As whoever chooses to end up going through, I will be the last using my crit to make sure I am the last.
All right, noted.
And I have, after that moment, I do have a scene to lay out for everyone to cap off the night.
Okay. Well, let's get a music change. I think sad is the tone here. Is you are leaving a home to everything you have known. So that's where we're going. So, let's go almost like slow motion, if you will. If you can picture the group of you running down this silhouetted, painted glass hallway as arrows lit a fire, smashed through, shattering it to pieces. The art created painstakingly, lost with you as the last people to witness. The guards guarding the gate have fallen, and there are troops on your heels. Both Valencia and Edford's troops battling in Oakledge for the remnants of what? Of a title? Of the ashes that remain. Zidar leads you down into the almost a basement storage with a arcane lock that has been picked and opened. Inside there are crates of artifacts and magic items and a single mirror. Unlike the previous ones you have seen, this has a circular frame made of platinum, like that of a clock. And the mirror itself shimmers like liquid silver. Ashlyn and Trick are nowhere to be seen, having vanished a while ago. Zidar rushes in. His daughter, who had been waiting, follows. Who's the first to enter?
I rest a clawed hand on Zash's shoulder. When you speak to him, perhaps he will give you more answers than I have.
I'll see you on the other side, I guess. And Zash steps through the mirror.
The sounds of footsteps are coming closer as you all stand here. Dazra looks at you, Yohi. You need to go through.
You first. Come and find me on the other side.
She will go to give you a hug,
You'll take it?
and she's gonna fucking throw you into that mirror.
Great.
And as she hugs you close in that initial thing, she just says, "The entire point of my life was to make sure you have yours. Don't throw it away." And then, phew,
Yeah, he'll try to cast something as he's in the air, but by the time he can get the words out, his head is into the portal and he can't get out the verbal components.
she, as your last view is fading, you see her. She's taken her arm out of the sling and is holding her shield limply as she walks up the stairs to buy a little bit more time. Leaving too.
Rhodus, go.
Nope. I am not going to let you stay back here again. I need to make sure that you go first.
Perhaps we can go together.
Nope. You first.
Rhodus.
What?
I can't have
Hey,
dragged you along all this way to leave you here.
you're not leaving me here. I'm going to be right behind you. This is just not going to be the astral plane again. Now, and arrows are still coming through. Like, would you go, please?
Be safe, and I will reach back and pull off my double-bladed scimitar that I can't use right now, as I'm missing a hand. I will hold it down to him. Make it out of this.
I'm right behind you.
that will be. And I will kind of like step back into the mirror.
As soon as her vision goes away, Brodus is taking that scimitar and going back up the stairs. He will sit there and stand side by side with Lanthario and the rest of them and fight until he can't fight anymore. When he's laying on the ground and taking his last few words, his last word is going to be Sinra. And you will see this paper bird fold up and start flying to the mirror. On it reads, Sinra, every story ends where it begins, and so does mine. And you have been there with me the entire time. You have only made me better. And for that, I thank you. And I will always be with you, friend. But you will watch as this paper bird inches from the mirror turns to ash.
And with that, our session ends. Not in fanfare, but in heartfelt sorrow. And a new beginning. And a new story. And we'll see you all in 2 weeks. But, you know, now we get to do sign-offs. Let's get some happy music in here or I'm gonna start crying. So, let's get some happier music.
It's the saddest yeet ever.
But, everyone in the chat, thank you so much for spending time with us and hanging out. My name is Graham, or Graham Crackers. I had the pleasure of being your DM tonight. If you liked what you saw, we do have a campaign on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, Dualities Lie, and next week we have Anarion's Rest at 7:30 Eastern Standard. That alternates weeks with this. I DM the Tuesday games, and we are joined by a wonderful DM, Media Flare, on Fridays. So if you want to hang out with us, you know, we always love seeing your voices and names in the chat. I had the pleasure of being your DM tonight, and I'd love to know 3 things about from all my players, which is 1, who are they? 2, where can we find them, if any? And 3, if they're working on any cool projects that we can support, because friends should support friends. So, without further ado, take it away.
Hey guys, I'm Pharaoh. I'm not at all upset right now. Everything's fine. You can catch me here on Fridays in Dualities Lie. You can catch me on Twitter at that link in the chat at Ferocious. And fuck you, Graham. Actually, fuck you, Fox. No, it's alright. I love you both.
So I'm Fox, or TTRPG Fox. You can find me here every other Tuesday. Other things that I'm doing, I'm still part of the Cloud9 training ground, so you can find me there. Or now, yeah. You can find me there, and then other than that, you know, trying to get into some new projects for the new year, so more to come.
Hello, I'm Izzy, aka Ladylike. You can find me on Twitter at NEXODUS99. You can also find me and the games that I make on itch.io/Ladylike. As far as cool projects, I'm currently in the process of filming, being a part of a Masks campaign for Dice Fiends. Stay tuned to my Twitter to hear more about that when it comes out.
Yeah, and I am Artemis. You can find me every other Tuesday right here, as you just saw. Hopefully getting to play a happier session with Joachim at some point, but you never know how it'll go. Yeah.
You know, I cry at least once a season.
Yeah.
But
That's about it for me.
All right. Well, everyone, it's been a pleasure having you all here. And I will let you off with a final farewell. It's not goodbye forever. It's just see you until next time. So stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll see you soon. Don't be a stranger.